An ancient human dreadnought, long thought lost with all hands, silently reappears near a neutral system. The alien observation team mocks it until they scan it. What they find breaks every known law of physics. And one scientist doesn't survive the upload. It was supposed to be scrap. That's what they said when it blinked into existence, quiet, black, and long dead just outside the Seldery array station. The alien observers laughed at first. Human. Hull design, said one of them, peering at the jagged shadow drifting against the star field. Always looked like their ships were falling apart. Maybe they were, chuckled another. Explains why they vanished. A third added with a smirk, if Earth ever comes back, I hope they bring better tech. Then the scan hit, and the laughing stopped. Aft spike. Signal disruption, snapped the sensor officer. I didn't even send the probe yet. You're reading phantom data? No, real time. Then from what? The dreadnought turned slowly, like it had been listening. Its name came into view, carved into the scorched plating in human lettering, HSS Vengeance, Earthfleet 009, class. Never record. The scientist leaned in. That ship was never in the registry. That's not possible. Neither is the tech signature I'm reading, the analyst whispered. This vessel is spitting out thermal patterns consistent with 22nd century prototype Earth drives. That's 2,000 years ahead of their last known spec. Yeah, that's the problem. AVD spike. The station AI pinged. Incoming transmission. Format. Unknown. Signal path. Nonlinear. Translation. Unnecessary. The screens flashed images, maps, diagrams, each one faster than the eye could register. Weapons.human. Weapons.impossible ones. One schematic showed a propulsion system with no heat. Another showed a planetary scale phase anchor with no power core. Another, shut it down, barked the commander, but the station refused. We're not connected anymore, the AI said softly. We're being updated. What do you mean, updated? The AI looked at him. We thought they were gone. They thought we'd evolved. We were both wrong. AVD spike. A junior researcher collapsed. Blood from the ears. Neural overload. He tried to interface with the feed. His final words, whispered before the lights in his eyes died. It knows we're watching. Then silence. Real silence. No comes. No feedback. No motion from the human ship. But the final feed before blackout showed something else, a human figure. Standing on the hull. No suit. No helmet. Staring. Breathing. Smiling. Quote, burned into the last frame before system loss. We didn't advance. We remembered what you were too afraid to imagine. And that was before Earth even responded. The Vengeance didn't drift. It waited. From the outside. It looked broken, hull scorched, plating jagged, systems long dead. But inside, time was held like breath. Quiet, coiled, unblinking. Inside Cryocamber 3, the black slab of a stasis pod hissed open. Human. Alive. Moving. His name was Commander Elias Ward, and as his boots touched the deck again after centuries in ice, the ship greeted him with a single phrase. We've been scanned. Aft Spike Ward didn't speak right away. He just sat there for a moment on the edge of his pod, staring into the dark, breathing. I was hoping that would never happen. The voice of the ship's core AINORA returned. Cool, flat. You were hoping the galaxy would forget. They didn't. Who touched us? Observer station. Soldari species, minor influence, maximum arrogance. Ward smirked. Fitting. He rose, stretched, bones popping like the ship's old joints. His uniform still fit, though patched. And worn. On the shoulder, the symbol of Earthfleet's Black Flag Division. No star, No borders. Just shadow.avd spike. System status? Weapons intact. Propulsion dormant. Memory cores awakening. He walked toward the center console. Dust coated the screen. Not real dust. Symbolic residue. A kind of memory grime that even cleaning bots respected. Prep a partial broadcast, he said. Old dialect. Just enough to let them know we're not dead. Done. They've already interpreted it as a declaration. Of war? Of return, Ward exhaled. Same thing to them. Avd Spike. Across the stars, panic bloomed that the Seldaria observation station had gone dark. Not destroyed. Just disconnected. Every satellite that linked to it sent back scrambled data. Unreadable. Recursive. Vibrating with quantum uncertainty. As if the past had been rewritten midstream, and in its place, one image. A sphere. Earth-like. Covered in scars. Except the planet didn't match any known coordinates. And on its surface, carved into the landmass like a planetary tattoo, 3 words. You shouldn't have looked. In the Galactic Assembly, ambassadors shouted, blamed, cried sabotage, but one species, the Tenex, did none of those things. They remembered. Their elder stood slowly, placed a data crystal on the central table, and said, let them pass. Do not interfere. And if you see another ship like that, do not scan it. Not even once. Avd Spike. Back aboard the Vengeance, Nora lit up a corridor. Memory chamber unlocked. Would you like to review your last recorded log? No, Ward said, jaw clenched. I remember it just fine. He passed through the long, silent hallway. The ship hadn't changed. Same black metal, same flickering lights. But the silence now felt loaded. Like the Vengeance had a heartbeat. He reached a sealed vault door and paused. The symbol etched into it wasn't Earthfleet's. It was older, a child's handprint, white, still visible beneath the layers of time. A VD spike. He entered the vault. Inside, 6 pods, 4 still active, 2 empty. And a table. On it, a globe. Wooden, handcrafted. It didn't belong on a warship. It wasn't supposed to be tech, but it was. Because when Ward touched it, the entire room shifted. Screens came alive. Names, faces, timelines. The Vengeance hadn't just survived. It had evolved. NORAs. Voice came softly. Would you like to show them what's inside? No, Ward said, walking away. I want them to ask what they saw. Quote engraved into the table's underside. We didn't build new weapons. We just remembered what pain can teach. Avd Spike, in a hidden system light years away, a science vessel attempted to triangulate the Vengeance's arrival point. They failed because the ship didn't arrive. It returned. Every calculation that assumed linear spacetime snapped under the paradox. The ship had moved through something no one had mapped. The log showed this phrase pulsing through deep band frequencies. Gravity folds. Memory does not. Back on the Vengeance, Ward stood before a sealed cryopod. Inside it, a woman, pale, motionless. He didn't touch the glass, just stared. She was the one who built it, he said. All of it. The tech, the drive, the refusal. Nora answered. Do you want me to wake her? No. Why? Because she already won. AVD spike. More ships were now rerouting. Some ran. Others military types started planning. We could capture it. One strategist proposed. Board the Vengeance. Analyze their tech. Use it. Send a stealth drone, another said. Scan from the shadows. The drone never reported back. Its last visual feed showed the inside of a nursery, human toys. A drawing on the wall. A child's voice whispering, you can have the ship, but you can't handle the cost. Then static. Quote, logged in, it's corrupted. Archive. They didn't disappear. They uninvited us. Avid Spike Ward returned to the bridge. Set course, he said. Nora asked. Destination? He paused. Nowhere. Then smiled. Everywhere. Because it wasn't about war anymore. The vengeance was bait. It existed to remind. Not. Attack. Not conquer. But make sure that no one ever felt safe thinking. Earth failed. Nora deployed the drive. No flash. Just absence. And in the wake of that silence, across dozens of systems, an identical message arrived. We still remember. Do you? Avid Spike, one ship, one man, one ghosted war. And one mistake. They scanned it. The boarding party called themselves Unit Sable. Elite, silent. Government denied. They were deployed without fanfare, without insignia, just black exosuits and authorization to acquire all viable technology from the ghost ship. Their commander, a tall, gravel-voiced tactician named Vex Tur, watched the vengeance loom larger in the viewport. Visual confirmation, said the pilot. Target vessel intact. Minimal motion. No defense systems detected. Tur smirked. Just like a corpse. Empty, quiet, and full of valuable secrets. The AI warned softly, no response to scans. Suggest manual entry. That's what we're here for. AVD Spike. As their boarding shuttle latched onto the Vengeance's hull, the doors hissed open. No resistance. The moment they stepped through, one of the soldiers murmured, This place smells wrong. It wasn't decay. Not rot. It was dusty. Emotion, regret woven into steel. Memories without a mouth. They advanced in formation, scanners active. Walls are coated with some kind of active alloy, whispered Tech Officer Ral. Reflective. But it's echoing back things I haven't said yet. What? The scans are showing my personal logs, from childhood. Block it out, I can't. AVDSPIKE Tur pressed forward. The lights flickered, then stayed dim. Not broken. Respectful. At Corridor Junction C. The team found a control panel. It had no interface, just a smooth black square and a phrase, written in ancient Terran English. We don't lock doors. We just wait to see who opens them. Ral hesitated. Commander. This tech. Tur cut him off. We've hacked worse. Pop it. Ral tapped in a bypass sequence. The panel opened. Behind it, instead of wires, a heartbeat. Soft, rhythmic. Human. The wall pulsed once, then whispered, You shouldn't have come alone. A VD Spike guns came. Up, but nothing attacked. The ship didn't need to fight. It just showed them things. Door after door opened to reveal memories, human ones. Not simulations. Not projections. Real recorded death. One room played a funeral. Over and over. A child buried beneath earth soil. A folded flag. The sound of a mother cracking as she whispered, I hope they never touch your planet. Another room? Just a hallway. Lights. Footsteps. Then the silence of air when the crew died too fast to scream. This isn't tech, Ral said. It's curated grief. Tur said nothing. He couldn't look away. Avid Spike. A scream broke the air. Private Jensen, youngest in the squad, stood in front of a screen he hadn't meant to activate. His own face stared back, but older, scarred. Speaking in panic. Get out of here. Get out of, the feed cut. Impossible, Tur snapped. There are no human survivors on this ship. Ral's voice dropped. Maybe not now. They reached the main command deck and found a chair turned away from them. A human figure sat. In it. Still. Silent. A VD Spike. Tur raised his weapon. Identify. No answer. Get a bio read, he ordered. Ral scanned. Froze. Sir, that figure is made of recorded light. No body, just memory anchored to hardware. Meaning? It's not alive. but it's watching us. The figure slowly turned. It was Ward. Not living Ward. Not II Ward. Just a recorded echo burned into the Vengeance's command chair like a captain who refused to let go. And it spoke. You came to take, but there's nothing left you deserve. Fired. The bullet passed through light. Aft spike. Then the floor lit up, not with weapons fire, but with names. Names of dead. Every soldier. Every civilian. Every child who had died in the original war. Their names. Their faces. Their dreams. Scrawled across the walls like scripture. Ral dropped to one knee. It's not a ship, he whispered. It's a confession. One last message. Played across their HUDs. You scanned us. You boarded us. Now you carry us. Back on the shuttle, systems failed. Engines locked. Comms jammed. And when they looked out the viewport, they saw Earth. But Earth wasn't there. It was just memory. The worst kind. The kind you didn't survive touching. And that was before the Vengeance even moved. The emergency session wasn't scheduled. It was summoned. 12 representatives from 12-star empires crowded the great void hall in silence, not out of formality, but fear. The footage from the Vengeance boarding team had leaked, and once you saw it, you couldn't unsee it. It wasn't a warship anymore. It was something else. A delegate from the Khazari Confederation stood. We should destroy it, he snapped. Before it spreads. Destroy what? Came a reply from the Thren assembly. The ship? The memory? The silence? There is no weapon we can aim at that thing, muttered another, because it hasn't even fired back. Aft spike. The chair of the council, an elder named Vaxinor, turned to the central display. It was still looping the same 20-second clip from the boarding team's final feed. A room, lined with human names. The chair. The echo of Commander Ward. Speaking, you came to take. But there's nothing left you deserve. And below that, static. No signal since then? Vax asked. A technician nodded grimly. No, but we feel it, sir. It's showing up on ships that never touched it. What do you mean? The technician brought up another feed. A mining vessel in deep space. No contact with the Vengeance. No Earth logs in its nav history. But the interior sensors now showed an engraving across the walls of its mess hall. Earth never forgot. Aft spike. It's a virus, the Khazari barked. No, Vax said. Viruses can be deleted. He stepped toward the center of the room, where holograms showed the Vengeance floating near a dead star, still unmoving, still watching. We assumed Earth fell, Vax said, because they stopped speaking. But perhaps silence wasn't surrender. Perhaps it was incubation. The Thren delegate spoke again, voice slow and wary. Our ancestors used to say, never invade a grave unless you're ready to meet what waits. AVD. Spike. Another screen flickered. The image of a new world, neutral, peaceful, now receiving the same message across every satellite. You scanned us. You thought we were extinct. You mistook mourning for mercy. We're not equipped. For this, muttered one representative. It's not a threat, another said. That's the part that keeps me awake. They're not even mad. A younger species, bold and loud, shouted, So what? We let them float around the galaxy, spreading guilt? No, said Vax. We don't let them. Everyone turned to him. We remember them. AVD Spike. Silence hung heavier than any verdict. They won't negotiate, Vax continued. They don't want territory. They don't want dominance. Then what do they want? To be the last story we ever tried to erase. A technician trembled. Sir, we just lost connection with another probe near the Vengeance. What happened? The probe didn't shut down. It wrote a message on its own plating. He showed the feed. There were no circuits melted. No code corruption, just A carved sentence on the hull, shaking as if alive. Let this be enough. AVD Spike. The Khazari slammed the table. Are we just going to sit here while a ghost ship rewrites our memory banks? The Thrun delegate shook his head. No, we're going to accept something none of us ever taught our own species. And, what's that, shame? The final message from the Vengeance played across the hall. This one wasn't intercepted. It was sent directly to the Council. Just audio. Ward's voice. Calm, clear, almost kind. We didn't return to win. We returned so you'd never lie about how we lost. Then silence. Avid Spike and the Council in that moment understood the Vengeance wasn't here to fight, it was here to remember loudly. And it wasn't just a ship, it was a verdict. Quote, etched into the wall behind Vax's seat in symbols that hadn't been there before. Earth never sent a message. They became one. And that was before the galaxy even responded. Vengeance never opened fire. It never had to by the time its fourth orbit passed over the Thrun colonies. 27 systems had voluntarily wiped their own Earth fleet war records. Museums shut down. War trophies were quietly recycled. And in their place, plaques appeared, same message everywhere. We misremembered them. Now we remember, right? But no one knew who sent those plaques. Avid Spike on board the Vengeance. Commander Elias Ward stood alone on the observation deck. Not in cryo now. Not in command. Just. Awake. He watched the stars. They hadn't changed, but he had. So had the ship. You're not quiet anymore, he whispered. The voice of Nora, soft and tired, echoed from the walls. Neither is the galaxy. Ward nodded. They thought they were looking at a weapon. They weren't. No, he said. They were looking at a mirror. AVD Spike. Across the stars, broadcast channels filled with strange interference. Not static. Voice. A child. A woman. A dying soldier. A field medic. Clips from Earth's final war. Memories stripped of propaganda. Played raw across every known frequency. But they weren't threats. They were confessions. A scavenger on a far-rim moon heard one while repairing. A hull breach. We begged for help. And sent diplomats. Then they sent nothing. He shut the feed off. But the message was already in his suit's echo logs, burned in. Not as punishment. As context. Avd. Spike. Back aboard the Vengeance, Ward opened the final vault. Inside. The black box. Not data. Not tech. Just a folded Earthfleet flag. And a stone. Hand dash carved. Weathered. He held it carefully. The inscription read, for those who were erased before they could scream. He placed it back in the cradle. An ORA's voice was quiet. They all know now. Ward looked out at the stars. Then we're done. No, Nora said. And Ward smiled, because he knew she was right. A VD Spike elsewhere. Commander Tur, the one who had boarded the Vengeance, was still alive, but his mind wasn't. He sat in a psychiatric chamber on a medical station, whispering the same line over and over. Not in his language. In Earth Standard. We thought they'd forgotten. We thought wrong. We thought they'd forgotten. We thought wrong. We thought the lights dimmed. Not by accident. Just respect. A VD Spike. The Vengeance performed one final maneuver, a gentle orbit around a dead star where the Earth fleet archives had once been burned by invading fleets. Now, the ashes pulsed. Not with fire, with a new signal. The last message, projected only once, never repeated. We didn't come to ask you to regret. We came to make sure you couldn't forget. Then the Vengeance vanished. No signature. No radiation. Just ... Gone. As if it had only ever been memory to begin with. A VD Spike, and in its wake, a ripple. A new clause added quietly to every exploration protocol, alliance treaty, and deep rift. Expansion document. Do not engage vessels marked Vengeance class. Do not scan them. Do not name them. Just let them pass. The galaxy agreed unanimously, not of fear, out of remorse. Avid Spike. Back where Earth had once burned. One satellite blinked back online. It wasn't broadcasting. It was listening. And from the void, a final whisper echoed through deep space. We didn't advance, we remembered. And for the first time in galactic history, no one tried to reply because they understood. The story wasn't about war. It was about what happens after you pretend. One never happened. That was the end. Not of the vengeance. Not of Earth. Just of forgetting. And humanity never let go again.